Good evening. It is now 6 p.m. and I'm calling the study session to order. Study sessions are limited to the commission discussion. No public comment is taken. No action or vote will be taken this evening. The study session serves as an opportunity for the commission to dialogue and provide feedback for a proposed item prior to a public hearing. On the agenda is DR 24-02, Bowling Restaurant Concept. If staff would please come forward for the presentation.
All right, good evening, Commission. The case I have for discussion tonight is for a bowling concept. The applicant is proposing a duck pin bowling, arcade, and restaurant concept. The site is located at the southeast corner of Gilbert Road and Hearn Way. And tonight I'm going to be seeking input on any general items you'd like to provide feedback on, as well as permission for the applicant to proceed with CDs at risk. The site is approximately 0.33 acres in a zoned Heritage Village Center. An existing building currently exists on the site and will be incorporated into the development of the new building. The proposed development will have 0-foot setbacks on Gilbert Road and Hearn Way, providing an active street presence. There are also canopies proposed along Gilbert Road and Hearn Way that will encroach over the sidewalk, which will provide shade for the pedestrians passing by. The canopies will require an encroachment permit since they do encroach over our sidewalks. The development will also have opportunities for exterior integration with the Oso Park located east of this parcel. Primary pedestrian access will be taken from the main entrance at the northwest corner of the parcel, but there will also be an exterior entrance located east of the building off of Hearn Way between the new development and the Oso Park. A 5-foot easement also runs along the southern property line, with half being located on the bowling concept site and half on the adjacent property owner site. The applicant has stated that this area is not accessible to the public, but we've just asked for clarification on how they intend to make that not accessible. Will there be a gate? Will there be signage? What's the plan for that area? Landscaping for the site is minimal. The applicant is proposing windowsill planter boxes with annual flowers and also a variety of potted plants, including totem pole cactus, Mexican fence post, and aramophilia. The totem pole cactus and Mexican fence post are not included in the approved Heritage District design guidelines and will require your approval in order to be utilized. 2 new red push pistache street trees will also be provided along Gilbert Road. Right, and the applicant is proposing a 1-story, 30-foot building that is designed to look like it has a 2-story massing. The elevations along Gilbert Road and Hearn Way will include roll-up style garage doors, providing a lively and interactive pedestrian experience. The building will be 6,600 square feet and will include 2 uses. Approximately 3,845 square feet will be classified as a full-service restaurant, and the remaining 2,808 square feet will be considered indoor entertainment and include duck pin bowling and an arcade area. There are a variety of colors and materials that are being used, including brick veneer, EIFS, and precast concrete. The building will also incorporate aluminum accent screens, metal canopies, and roll-up garage door style windows. Below the windows, like I mentioned previously on the landscape page, you will also find the planter boxes with annual flowers that will bring a pop of color to the street presence. And then along the eastern elevations, you'll find a secondary entrance as well as a pickup style window, encouraging crossover users for Oso, the park, and this new bowling concept. And then seen here are some additional renderings of the project, including a night view. Although signage is included in these renderings, it is not part of the review and will require approval of a heritage sign plan prior to permitting. The bowling pins seen in the images at the entry feature will be considered signage, but since the location is off of 2 main roadways, Gilbert and Hearn, the user is allowed to have double the typical allowable signage. All right, here is a closer look at the colors and materials being proposed. And then here is the floor plan. You can see the duck pin bowling lanes are to the south side, the arcade is at the northeastern corner, and then the restaurant and bar area is right off of the main entrance. All right, and then here is the photometrics plan calling out the locations of the proposed lighting. The applicant is proposing under canopy lighting as well as just your standard wall pack security lighting. And then again, I'm just hoping for some general feedback for you tonight on the project, as well as permission for the applicant to proceed with CDs at risk. They have completed one review with us, and the comments that we'll be sending back are minimal. And then I'm available for any questions if you have them.
Thank you for the presentation, Kristen. As this is a study session, it does not require a vote. However, at this time, for commissioners to provide feedback and ask questions of staff and the consultant. Would anybody like to start?
Yeah.
Commissioner Baugh.
So I reviewed the photometric plan. I'm familiar with what the candle numbers are. One thing a question on the canopies that overhang the right-of-way, the sidewalk. Will there be lighting mounted underneath that canopy?
Yes.
Okay, and is it the entire width of that overhang canopy? Personally, I like it. I'm glad to hear that because I think it's really helpful and lighting can really change the look of a building. But is it under the entire width of it? Is it like, can you describe a little bit?
Sure. So Chair Kendall, Commissioner Baugh, maybe. All right. So right here, they are, it's this lighting here. So these little circle lights that are underneath the canopy. So it doesn't extend over the entire length. It's not like a running LED strip or anything like that. But you can see here, this A is a lighting, and then there was another A somewhere. So they're periodically placed along here. It's not going to be like a running strip of lighting.
Yeah. Okay. I was curious if it was going to be lit or more just like a halo lit, just like along the rim of it, so it created more like a floating appearance, but it's really actual functional light, not aesthetically. Okay. For just the folks in the downtown area, or not the folks down there, but those who are coming here, could you explain how refuse is collected? On a site like this, it's a postage stamp property. It's a big effort to develop something as small as this. I thought they got great utilization of it, but you don't see the apparent things you normally see with the property. Your grading, your retention drainage areas, your refuse areas, your parking areas. And I know there's a plan in place, but could you kind of provide that perspective to everybody?
Sure. So Chair Kendall, Commissioner Baugh, within the downtown district, there are community areas for refuse, as long as the site is located within the correct distance and there's space to be utilized in those community refuse areas. In this case, it's in the adjacent parking garage. Then they can choose to utilize those community refuse as opposed to having refuse placed on site. There are other sites within the district, for example, Clements that you recently saw. They were not within an available refuse location and had to provide their refuse on site. But this particular site is within that distance, so they don't need to provide the refuse on site. The grading and drainage, I also got a statement from our engineers that I can provide to you for how we calculate the grading and drainage within the downtown, because it is a little different than it is throughout the rest of the town. And his statement was that within the Heritage District, due to the zero setback building envelope and given the regional retention system in place, most recent water models show that the regional retention system is more than adequate for the Heritage District as a whole. We're only requiring development to retain the positive difference between the pre-development retention and the post-development retention within the project. If there's no positive difference between the two, no additional retention is required. Don't ask me to explain that because I don't know how, but I can get you in touch with someone who can if you have additional questions.
I understand. In the staff report, it just said grading and drainage are provided, and when you look at it, you don't see it.
Yeah.
But I think it's important to kind of provide that clarity because there's pre versus post, there's first flush, and when you have these old infill sites, you can't apply the type of standards you would on a brand new shopping center. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner Baugh. Any other comments or questions? I have a question. If we could go back to the plants. What is a totem pole cactus? And does it have spikes? Or
I don't know. I'm not sure. I didn't include pictures of them. I apologize for that. I just included the locations. I can definitely get that information though and get it over to you if you would like to see it.
Sure. Any other questions or comments?
Was the applicant required to calculate the pre versus post? Have their engineers provided pre versus post on the water offset?
So Chair Kendall, Commissioner Clausen, it is one of the comments that we sent back that our engineer team needed a bit more information. We haven't sent the comments back yet. They just completed their first review. We'll be sending that back tomorrow. But we do need additional information from them for that.
And then it's my understanding that the park and this project, they're providing connectivity in the rear. There will be no fence off of the western boundary of the park, correct? It'll be open to this kind of back alley area in the back entry of the building?
I believe so. I haven't seen any fencing on the site
Yeah,
plan.
it
The
doesn't look
applicant
like it,
is here though if you needed more information.
I don't see one, so.
Any other questions?
Just out of curiosity, when this, after this project's underway, is the sidewalk going to be fixed by the town or is it in the project scope for them to remove the driveways? Because right now, I believe on Gilbert Road and even off Hearn, you can actually access it as a driveway, or you could in the past, I don't remember. But just the sidewalk, making sure it's not like an awkward, leading into a building type situation.
So Chair Kendall, Commissioner Bigelow, I don't have an answer for that right now. I can definitely look into who is responsible for fixing the sidewalk. I would assume that it's the developer, but I don't know for sure, and I don't want to give you wrong information.
Cool, thank you.
Any other comments or questions?
Ava was just kind enough to bring up an example of a totem pole cactus, and they do not have spines.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you, commissioners, for your feedback. I will now adjourn the study session. It is now 6:13 p.m. and I'm calling the regular meeting to order. If staff would please take roll call.
Chair Kendall,
Here.
Vice Chair Updike,
Here.
Commissioner Baugh, Commissioner Bigelow,
Here.
Commissioner Clausen.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Thank you, Amanda. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters not on the agenda. The commission's response is limited to responding to criticism.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. We had one more item that Kristen needed. If we could just go back
Sure.
For 1 minute, and then we'll call the meeting to order again.
I'm so sorry. I just wanted to get clarification on whether the applicant for the bowling concept can proceed with CDs at risk, if that's amenable to the commission.
I would think that's fine.
I would agree with that.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Sorry to interrupt.
Thank you. We don't take a vote on that?
No, Mr. Chairman, no. That's still part of the study session. So if we could just call the meeting to order now
Perfect.
at this time, and we've already established that we have a quorum.
At this time, members of the public may comment on matters not on the agenda. Commissioners' response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Are there any communications from citizens at this time?
Mr. Chairman, I have no communications from citizens on items not on the agenda.
Great, thank you. We'll now move into administrative items. Consider approval of minutes for the regular meeting held on January 17th, 2024. Are there any edits the commission wishes to make? Hearing none, I'll ask for an approval in a second.
I move to approve the minutes from January 17th, 2024.
I second.
Having a motion and a second, please vote. The minutes are approved 5-0. Items will be heard, now we'll move on to the public hearing. Items will be heard at one public hearing, at which time anyone wishing to comment on a public hearing item may do so. Comments will be heard from those in support of or in opposition of an item. In order to comment on a public hearing item, You must fill out a public comment form indicating the item number on which you wish to be heard. Once the item is closed, there will be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the commission. After the public hearing, the commission may act on all items not requiring additional staff, public, or commission comment with a single vote. I will now open the public hearing for DR 23-136 Bottled Blonde. Kristen, if you could please proceed with the Bottled Blonde presentation.
Should have just stayed up here. All right, so the case I have for you for public hearing tonight is for Bottled Blonde. This is not the right paper. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. The site is located southeast of Gilbert and Vaughn, where the Burgess Coffee House was previously located. The applicant is proposing to develop a new full-service bar and restaurant. The site is approximately 0.19 acres, and it is zoned Heritage Village Center. The proposed development is 2 stories and 11,131 square feet. The building is placed 10 feet from the property line, which provides room for a switchback ramp leading to the front door, allowing room for queuing for the business to be provided on site and not encroach into the sidewalk off of Gilbert Road. This slide here shows a closer look at the queuing ramp. The ramp is estimated to hold approximately 40 people at a time. Landscaping for the site is minimal. The applicant is proposing a street-side landscape planter filled with lady slippers along the switchback ramp. That ramp also includes a bench for patrons to sit on off of Gilbert Road. 1 red push pistache street tree is also being added along Gilbert Road. The proposed building will be 2 stories at a height of 42 feet 8 inches, and it is designed for the full-service restaurant and bar tenant Bottled Blonde. The first floor is 6,742 square feet. It includes a main kitchen, restrooms, bar, and dining area. The second floor is 4,388 square feet and contains a second dining room and bar area. The second floor functions as a patio and includes a retractable roof and windows that create an open environment towards Gilbert Road. The building is primarily made up of colored block in Papago Red, Southwest Gold, and Highlands. The block will be accented with corrugated and decorative metals, as well as a metal canopy feature. The front of the building will include a metal tower entry feature at the northwest corner with a decorative section of precast concrete inset with glass bottles. Colorful glass bottles at that. Though that is located towards the middle of the tower. The first floor of the building is required to have a 75% transparency per the Heritage District Design Guidelines, which the applicant is meeting. They are also placing windows starting at booth height to satisfy some resident concerns of the interior of the business being too visible from the street. The applicant has also called out a location for murals on the south side of the building facing Joe's Barbecue, and also a potential location on the north side of the building, although that side of the building does sit on a 0-foot setback line. The mural on the south side of the building is intended to be installed during construction with just a bit of wiggle room in case you're painting and you don't want construction materials to get caught up in the paint. And then seen here are some additional renderings of the building. And then here are the colors and materials being proposed, as well as a closer look at the concrete and bottle feature. There were some questions during the study session regarding the colors and materials. So the applicant has provided a physical board for you, which you will find up at the dais. If you want to pass it along. And then here is a closer look at the retractable roof and window features. My applicant does have a presentation as well following mine, and they'll be providing a bit more information on these features in their presentation. And then seen here is the floor plan showing the first floor dining area and the second floor patio space. The second floor has booths that line the wall facing Gilbert Road, creating a visibility buffer from the street. Right, a neighborhood meeting for the project was held on September 12th. 19 attendees were noted on the sign-in sheet with concerns including the use, the loss of the current building on the site, and the transparency from Gilbert Road. Following the neighborhood meeting, the formal design review was submitted on October 11th. No emails or phone calls have been received since the start of the design review. However, 2 comment cards in opposition to the project have been received this week. All right, and then in the staff report, you will also find additional conditions of approval. I wanted to take a moment to elaborate on 2 of them. The first is number 4, seen here. The applicant has not established a speaker plan at this time and intends to do so with the construction drawing submittal. This condition is intended to limit noise drifting towards Gilbert Road by orientating the direction of the speakers inward and downward. Condition 5, seen here, was added because when this project first came in for review, the requirements for grading and drainage were different, and now projects downtown are permitted to utilize the pre versus post retention requirement and would like to provide Bottled Blonde the opportunity to pursue that option and have it approved administratively if they decide to reflect that change on their grading and drainage plan. Right, and then with that, staff recommends approval of DR 23-136 Bottled Blonde, subject to the conditions found in your staff report. And I'm available for questions.
Thank you, Kristen. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff? Hearing none, would the applicant like to speak at this time?
Chair, Commissioners, thank you so much. For your record, Lindsay Shuby with the law firm of Gamage and Burnham, 40 North Central, Phoenix, Arizona. And as I watch staff do their fabulous presentation, we have a couple duplicative slides. So I will not waste your time by saying anything that Kristen already said, but can hit some high notes and again respond to some of the questions. Commissioner Broad had some questions about the retractable roof that we heard in study sessions. So hopefully we can help you with any questions you had. Again, Lindsay Shuby, with me is Dennis Newcomb. The property owner, developer is Wags Capital, and we have Kevin here if we have any questions. We have Vince Dalkey of the Dalkey Design Group, and we have our acoustical engineer. I asked Tony tonight, I'm like, are you a sound engineer? And our acoustical engineer, Tony Sola. So hopefully with all of us here, we can answer any questions. Again, you're all familiar with the context and where this property is located. Again, just adjacent along Gilbert Road, just south of Vaughan. Context map, again, probably don't have to share this with you, just across the street from the Porch, Snooze, Joyride, and north of Joe's Real Barbecue. As stated, this is a small site, right? Like we just heard with the bowling alley, 0.19 acres. The surrounding land uses all include restaurants, entertainment, recreational spaces, patio, dining, and office. The site was formerly occupied by Bergie's Coffee Roast Development, and there's a building on there that is called, it's otherwise known as the Clare House. Interesting, not really relevant to this application, but we are working on saving that house. And we've had multiple meetings on it and working with your community to preserve that home. Obviously not on this location, but we're really excited about that and that we've been able to do that. Our client, the end user, again, the developer who we're here on behalf of is not the end user. The end user is Bottled Blonde. They were founded in Scottsdale in 2014. They are a fully functioning restaurant with a bar. The location in Gilbert will have a larger kitchen with greater food service. The food service that you can get there, I feel like I'm doing a commercial. Spaghetti and meatballs, stone pizzas with craft beers, wines, and cocktails. The goal is to create a nice gathering space, sports and entertainment during the day, corporate events, and then nightlife in the evening. Kristen did a great job of walking us through the building, so I won't spend too much time on it, but 2 stories. Again, on the first floor, kitchen, restrooms, bar, and dining area. Second floor, dining room, restaurants, and bar area. An important note, and I think Kristen hit it, there are no windows along the south and north elevations with that mural opportunity along the south. Similar architecture as abutting buildings and streetscape, we believe very compatible with the Heritage Village District design guidelines. The site plan, our original site plan before our first submittal that we shared with town staff, had the building right along the frontage, as is permitted by the zoning. In response to comments at the neighborhood meeting, as well as staff comments, we did push that building back 10 feet. That allows for a switchback ramp for queuing, as well as a street side bench, as Kristen mentioned, bike parking and a planter area and a new tree. And the queuing will allow for approximately 40 people. There's the two floor plans. Again, the open roof area is adjacent to Gilbert Road, and the kitchen area on the east side of the first floor. Elevations, that Kristen also had this. Again, as you can note, small width along the west elevation along Gilbert Road, but no windows. Chair and Commission, you may remember we did have windows along the south elevation when we were here for the study session. In working with the fire department, we couldn't work that out, and so we've taken those windows away. We hope that, the windows added some nice building articulation and some interesting feature there. However, we always want to make sure that we're okay with the fire marshal, and it helps for noise. The materials board that you have along the dais, along the dais there, if you have any questions about any of the materials. There were some inconsistencies in the pictures at the study session, so hopefully the material board helps clear up any of those questions. And as Kristen mentioned, we do have all the colored bottles kind of above the main entryway. Here is a picture with the current condition. As you can see, A, B, and C are different views of the property from Gilbert Road. Again, this is current condition. The next slide shows the proposed renderings as it will look with the building in there. Again, we think the architecture matches other buildings along Gilbert Road. Here's a pedestrian view, and again, a nice view of the switchback. Main entrance along Gilbert Road with a more articulated entrance. That was a comment we got from staff even before our first application. And an ADA ramp allows for additional separation from the street. Also allows for additional greenery and that bench that we were able to add. So to answer Chair, Commissioner, I think it was Commissioner Baugh who had the majority of the questions about it, but the retractable roof, what does it look like and what are the features? So again, it's only on the patio area is on the west side of the second level. You can see there. The retractable roof is made by, is a retractable polyester vinyl laminate. I normally don't read my presentation, but I wanted to get those words right. It's stretched over an aluminum structure, and it is motor-driven on a track. Therefore, it can be open, closed, or somewhere in between. The track also creates a peak in the membrane. It helps for runoff if there's rain. There are 40 color options. It is waterproof, fully UV protectant. No one will get skin cancer, resistant from fading, and a durable material. That material also has proven, according to the company, that it is noise dampening, more so than a metal. So the vinyl product actually does a nicer job of maintaining sound. Retractable glass partitions. Again, we just have them along the west facade. As you guys all know, we do need some ground level transparency because that's required by the Heritage Village Center. Our original application had glass all the way from bottom to top in response from our neighborhood meeting as well as staff. We now only have visibility at eye level. So we were able to add some booths at the ground level, so there's no ground level visibility into the building. These glass windows are retractable, so they can be closed or open. Slightly above the booth. So again, not at ground level, but more at eye level. Again, as to some of the comments in terms of visibility into the building, we think we're doing a nice blend of making sure that there is some interaction with the street as is required by the code, but making sure that we're balancing the views into the building. So that would be the view corridor if you were standing across Gilbert Road. And again, with the booth seating, you would see above people's heads if you were looking in. So sound, we also heard that comment just to ensure that there would be no negative impact there. We agree with all the stipulations as presented by staff, including number 4, which Kristen highlighted. The speaker location shall be shown at the time of building permit submittal and shall be directed inward and downward, not facing Gilbert Road. We have no outside areas along the west side of the building, no windows along the north or the south. The previous application you did see there were windows on the south. The windows along Gilbert Road are operable and can be closed depending on the context of what's going on. The window framing provides greater sound dampening, and the open roof, again, as mentioned with the vinyl palmolate, whatever, I don't have that word in front of me, can be open, closed, or partially closed. And the roof membrane also does provide for sound dampening. Oh. Well, there we go. Okay, in conclusion, Chair, Commissioners, I hope that answers your questions in terms of the material. We do have an acoustic engineer who has studied the building. We believe that we will comply with the noise ordinance, and we support all the stipulations as proposed by staff. We did come to the town early, and we've done a lot of work with staff, and there were a lot of things that we addressed before even our first submittal. So hopefully, transparency, I think, was one of the questions at the neighborhood meeting. We came early and been here often. I think staff is sick of hearing from Dennis and I, asking if there's anything else they need or anything else that we can do. So we look forward to being a great member of the community, excited to be here. Think that this is really an aesthetically pleasing building, and respectfully, also very happy to save the Clare House. So respectfully request approval.
Thank you very much. Before I ask staff a comment, is there any additional questions from the commissioners?
Yeah, I have a question. So the ramp that is the queuing ramp, is that your only accessible entrance into the building? Or when you've got 40 patrons stacked, then how does someone in a seated position enter the facility?
Chair, Vice Chair, I wanted to make sure I was giving correct information. That is the only accessible ramp, but we do believe there is enough width. We don't anticipate 40 people queuing that often, so yes.
Thank you. That was the only question.
Thank you. Commissioner Baugh?
Lindsay, would you say that it's the polyester or the vinyl that makes that shade screen more durable?
Chair, Commissioner Baugh, it's the combination of the two. I don't know. I'm not an expert, but it is a durable material, and
Vinyl. It was the vinyl, and so
Is it the
unfortunately, I won't be able
vinyl?
to support the case.
Oh, well, thank you, Commissioner Baugh. You're teaching me.
I appreciate you kind of bringing that, though. It was important for me to understand how it works, and I think more importantly, how we have a downtown. It's really the gem of our community. Like, vibrancy, noise is part of what makes it what it is. I was never particularly concerned about the noise, but I just want to understand how it might have been directed, and if needed, if there was a desire to help reduce it, I think that can make a difference. I appreciate it. I got a question for the architect.
Say your name and address for the records.
Vince Dalkey, Dalkey Design Group, 2039 East Rice Drive in Tempe.
It's a two-story building.
Yes,
It's 42 feet tall.
yes.
I love height. I feel like we need a lot of height in this area.
Then you should love it then.
I feel like if I could provide code revisions, I would encourage some type of development incentive to promote more height. But 42 feet for a two-story structure seems tall, as opposed to a three-story structure. What's the necessity of 42 feet only across 2 floors?
He has other establishments and he likes the volume. And so because of the string lights they want to put inside and the decor they want to potentially install, the volume meets their aesthetic desire for the other locations they're building now. They have one in Nashville and they have one in Las Vegas, so they would like this to have the volume that matches those establishments.
Volume, not noise, volume,
Yeah.
space.
The volume of space.
Thank you.
That's really the best I can tell you. And I think the height, if you look at kind of normal restaurant space, they're 14 feet clear, a lot of them are. And so this is 16 feet. It's substantially higher than those spaces. So those two volumes together both being the same, the downstairs environment, the upstairs environment being the same height, I don't think it's out of the realm of what would be interesting in today's
So
restaurant
you're
world.
42 feet top of parapet, I think is what I saw on the exhibit.
But then we got floor system.
But
We
no,
have the
that's what I'm
floor
trying to
system,
understand. So your clear height on the inside is probably 36.
Yeah, 16 feet.
Okay.
That's to the trusses. That doesn't include the ductwork that's going to be below that.
It will be screened.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any additional comments or questions?
I appreciate you being sensitive to the community and, you know, making those adjustments. I know the fire department had something to do with it, but with the windows and everything, I feel like you guys have been very transparent and have really tried to, you know, work with the town and with everyone, so thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other questions? Okay. Staff, are there any members of the public in attendance who wish to speak on item DR 23-136?
Chair Kendall, as Kristen had noted, we received 2 in opposition, Andrew Guminiak and Nikita Nez, so just wanted to state that for matter of public record. And we do have 1 individual in attendance who is also opposed to this item, so 3 in opposition, Justine Louise Taylor. And Justine, did you want to speak? Okay. So Justine, you'll come up to the mic here and you'll have 3 minutes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is my first time being to one of these things, so sorry, I'm a little bit nervous. I was born and raised in Gilbert, and I just bought a house off of Linda Lane, so I'm really excited about that. It's an old neighborhood, and we all have really old windows and things like that. We can hear Whiskey Row every once in a while, but it's not too bad. I am just concerned about noise and just the old houses, I guess. I do appreciate the time you guys took to make it like a little bit more street friendly for everybody. Gilbert's like a really family oriented, family friendly, lots of kids. And I guess we all like it that way. That's why we live in downtown. So yeah, just mostly the noise I'm just concerned about. And yeah, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Justine. With that, Mr. Chairman, that is all that I have for public comment.
Does the applicant have any response they'd like to share with public testimony?
Chair, Commissioners, no, I don't have a response. I think we addressed that in the presentation, how we think the building design has mitigated any potential noise issues.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions for staff?
I have another question. So the acoustic engineer that your team has brought on, is that to consult with speaker locations, or are there drawings being prepared as a part of the package going into Gilbert?
Chair, Vice Chair, we brought an acoustical engineer on at the beginning just to ensure, just in terms of consulting on the building design, the speakers, all of those things. We want to be a respectful member of the town of Gilbert. We're really excited to be here, and we want to make sure that we're not doing anything to add any additional noise. So yes, there will be a speaker plan that goes in with our construction documents, and we already agreed to the stipulation in terms of the location and how the speakers will be facing.
And there's no town requirement in the submittal package for, or is there, for that? This is being done as a courtesy to help address the comments, or is that a checklist item in the submittal package as a requirement?
So Chair Kendall, Commissioner Updike, I guess I'm not entirely sure what you mean.
For the speaker locations, are we
It's just to
requiring-
help mitigate the noise and kind of answer the response from the neighborhood meeting and the opposition we've heard regarding noise. We're trying to do what we can proactively to limit that noise interior to the site as opposed to drifting out towards Gilbert Road.
Okay,
It's past experience with places like Whiskey Row of the sort.
thank
Chris-
you.
Thank you. Has there been a security plan delivered?
Yes, so there was a security plan submitted in January that was provided to myself and Economic Development, and then that was forwarded on to police, our PD department, but we have not received any response back yet.
Okay. Any other questions or comments?
Just a quick comment. I was expecting a lot of people here today. So the work that's been done is appreciated from my perspective. I know what it's like to kind of face some of that, and the early outreach, I think, proved valuable. And there's always a reaction to something new. And the fact that I think we see an applicant do some work and less of the crowd that existed online, I think is a testament to whatever they did to address concerns, be responsive. And I think most people just want to be seen, heard, and valued. And that usually goes most of the way to get it done. So I'm happy to see where we are landing now today.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I'm going to piggyback off that comment and really just wonder out loud. I mean, we as a commission are really only voting for the passel of the aesthetic building, making sure that it's within code and that it's going to fit within the gem of our city or town. One of the things that just kind of blows my mind is we hear Scottsdale, you hear Las Vegas, you hear Nashville and Dallas. Why Gilbert? Maybe I'll never know. And I'm sure you would give me a great answer. It's a rhetorical question. So I will always wonder that. I appreciate the Clare House and the history behind it. And I know that we've talked about HD South and the role that it plays in that. And I believe that Commissioner Bigelow has taken some part in that. Can you tell us a little bit about the plan and what that might be for the actual physical structure itself?
Chair, Commissioners, I can tell you that we're working on it. We've had multiple meetings with both Historic Preservation, and I know I'm going to botch that name. I was in front of Historic Preservation and Flagstaff this afternoon. But your Historic Preservation group here, we've worked with town staff. They were out there today getting measurements and figuring out how they're going to move the building, what was the original structure, what were additions on it, where exactly it's going to be located. A few of those issues are still up in the air, but we've met with them multiple times. Members of the community, we may house it temporarily before it can get to its final location, but I know town staff is very supportive of doing everything they can to help move it, and we just want it preserved in the best place where the residents of Gilbert will be able to see it and enjoy it.
Thank you. Any additional comments, questions?
Mr. Chairman, prior to an additional discussion, you'll need to close the public hearing, and then that will be the close of your interaction with your questions. So any more questions are allowed, and then close the public hearing, and you guys can have a dialogue at the dais.
Thank you. I will close the public hearing on item DR 23-136, Bottle Blonde, and we'll look to the commission for discussion. Who would like to share their thoughts first?
I think I got ahead of myself, but you know how I feel.
Commissioner Bigelow? Commissioner Clausen?
Yeah, I'm good. Do you have anything?
We talked about this a lot at study session. I think it's a beautiful building, and I think my fellow commissioners pointed out. I mean, I think what's within our purview is the design of the building, and I think the design of the building fits within the area and the character of the area. I appreciate your entire team taking the comments that we had at study session and making some changes. So no, that's all I've got. Thanks.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'll look for the commission for a motion.
I move to approve.
Can you complete that, please? DR 23.
Commissioner Baugh, if you'd like some help with the motion, you can, you had it correct. Motion to approve the findings of fact and approve DR 23-136 with the conditions 1 through 5.
Move as stated.
I'll second that motion.
I have a motion and a second. Please vote. The motion passes 5-0. Thank you, Kristen. We will now move into communications. Councilmember Torgerson, do you have anything you'd like to report on current or future events?
Thank you, Chair Kendall. Next Wednesday, February 28th, a public meeting will be held at 6 p.m. at Freestone Rec Center in the Assembly Room for Northwest Gilbert revitalization efforts. Please join the public to provide feedback on where Gilbert should focus its revitalization efforts and what outcomes you want to see from revitalization for the most mature area in the community. If you're unable to attend, an online form will be available after the meeting at gilbertaz.gov/NW Gilbert. The Gilbert Feeding Families community-wide food drive is taking place this Saturday, February 25th. The Gilbert Outdoors Expo will be held February 24th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Riparian Preserve, and more information on each of these items is available on the community calendar at gilbertaz.gov.
Thank you, Councilmember Torgerson. Commissioners, any updates you'd like to share? Amanda, do you have a report for us?
Mr. Chairman, I do not, but Sydney is going to provide us an update presentation on the Heritage District. So I'll hand it over to her.
Thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'm here today to provide you a quarterly update on the Heritage District. So just to provide a brief overview, just to orient you for 2023, and this is calendar year 2023. Again, the Heritage District, we just have some stats on there. As of 2023, 23% of the land in the Heritage District is town-owned, and that's highlighted in orange on your screen. The median residential age is about 35 and a half, and we have about 750 university students and a little over 1,100 residents living in the district today. And just to provide a reminder as well, the Heritage District has multiple designations. It is a redevelopment area, an entertainment district, a character area, and a growth area. All these different types of designations allow us to achieve the vision of the Heritage District that we see today. So last year, we acquired a subscription with Placer, so now we can report out some visitation to the Heritage District more accurately than we have before. So for 2023, we have these numbers available. There were 5.5 million visits to the Heritage District. Of those 5.5 million visits, 1.6 million were unique visits to the Heritage District, so one singular person. Over in the chart, you can see that we have it split up by seasons here of when people are visiting by month. March is by far our highest month, and it always has been, and is located right in our high season for the district. Just to provide just a couple different visitation trends that we have access to now with Placer, the average visit frequency for that 5.5 million is about 3.4 visits per visitor. Our highest visited month is March. Most visited time of day is 7 p.m. with our most visited day being Saturday. And our average dwell time is over 125 minutes on average per visit. And here, just to provide a little bit of context, we've showed you before what the Heritage District has looked like from 2017 to 2022. So we're adding on with 2023 data, so you have this. So we can verify that 1 in 4 visits to Gilbert are to the Heritage District, making it one of our most visited destinations in the town. To date, since 2017, we have had approximately 37.6 million visits to the downtown, and our average between 2017 to 2023 per year, and again, this is total visits, not unique visits, is 5.4 million. And there on the screen, I know it might be a little difficult to see the numbers with the colors, but you can see that we've had a relatively consistent visitation since 2017 with that dip in 2020 to be expected during COVID. And I know this is a lot of numbers on the screen, so I'll figure out a better way in the future to show this, but we just kind of want to provide some context with you with the Heritage District when compared to Gilbert with our office, retail, and multifamily vacancy rates. So all this data is from CoStar, and it is from Q4 of 2023, so the last quarter available for last year. So it shows here that the Heritage District on average has slightly better vacancy rates than the rest of Gilbert. So for example, office is about 9.5% from that Q4 data, where the entire town is a little over 11% or 11.5%. Again, you'll see that trend with retail vacancy rate, the 0%. I know that seems a little crazy. So again, that's 1 quarter there, but we do have a very low retail vacancy rate consistently within the district, typically under 2%. So again, that may seem like a weird number to see, but quarter to quarter, that has happened from time to time. And again, with that multifamily vacancy rate, as you can see, it's about half the amount as the rest of Gilbert. There's very high demand for residential in the district in general, and particularly with the low offerings of multifamily. Again, that number stays consistently low, especially when compared to the rest of the town. And again, just for reference there, we showed you some of those market rent rates per square foot for that office, retail, and multifamily. Again, those ones are relatively consistent with the rest of the town, with some slight fluctuations when compared. And just to provide an update, we have about 160 businesses in the Heritage District, so we're up a little bit more than 5 businesses than we were in the last year. And again, this is calendar year, because sometimes we talk in fiscal year, so that's why you'll hear me reiterate those different types of timelines. Okay, so again, another colorful slide. So something that Gilbert does and that they've been tracking since 2008 is the value per acre for land in the Heritage District. What we track here is what each acre of land on average is being valued at in the downtown when compared to the surrounding area. So I have a map up in the top left-hand corner, so that shows you the blue area that we're comparing it to see how is the Heritage District performing in relation to the surrounding area. And that funky outline there, just for your reference, is a 5-minute drive time. So that's what that outline is there. So in fiscal year 2023, the value per acre for land in the Heritage District is about $2.5 million. So that's a 24% increase from 2022. And the buffer area is about $1.8 million. So you can see there's almost a $700,000 difference between the Heritage District and the area directly surrounding it. So something that we also track as well is sales tax revenue. So the Heritage District is only 0.3 square miles of the town of Gilbert, but accounts for, at least in 2023, 1.2% of the total sales tax revenue collected for all of Gilbert. So for a relatively small area, it is an economic driver, and again, this is something that we measure to see the fiscal health of the area. We have a stat at the top there that I've highlighted that since 2008, we've had a 512% increase in sales tax revenue in the district. So again, we started tracking these types of statistics in 2008, and that also was when the not most recent redevelopment plan was adopted, but the one before that. So that's just a marker to show you over the last 16 years how far we've come in the downtown. And here is some additional Gilbert value metrics. So we kind of talked about some general value per acre and some other items. So we also track as well what the town-owned land and the town-owned buildings in the downtown are worth, along with how much sales tax collection and also land sale proceeds when we sell land to developers, and compare that against CIP capital improvement investments, our dedicated bike team, our economic development staff, and some other miscellaneous items to see what Gilbert's investing in there in order to have some of those economic incomes and measure that outcome there. So again, this is something that's more an internal tracking, but has been completed since 2008. So there's a lot of things behind the scenes that you may not be seeing, but we do, as you know, have Water Tower Plaza that is under construction, and as a reminder, that will be under construction until the fall of this year. You'll see on there, I know I've gotten questions about Art Walk and where that's been located. There are signs on the construction site for Water Tower Plaza directing people to Art Walk. They're now located along the sidewalk area adjacent to the farmer's market. Additionally, we have another project that just recently started construction. It's a concrete pipe gravity sewer rehab, or WW1060. So this goes along the Western Power Line trail, and portions of it are located in the Heritage District. So they've started some pre-construction activities, and we will continue to notice the public as it moves further into the Heritage District. It's closer over towards Neely right now, and we'll keep you updated. Outside of that, we have 6 other projects that are all in different levels of design phases with the town. Ranging from Phoenix Avenue Pedestrian Mall. That project is located along the UPRR area, and that's a project in order to improve pedestrian tracks there, and then also provide some additional walls in order to stop illegal crossings. We also have some sidewalk repairs. Vaughan Ventilator is a large project in Vaughan Basin relocation that you may have heard of, in which we are providing a vital connection in and out of the Heritage District on the west side. So this will go from where Vaughan is on the west side and then go connect up and run parallel with the UPRR and then go into Neely Street going up to Guadalupe. So as you know, the Heritage District is very small and it has a lot of constraints and has a lot of items that are huge barriers like the railroad tracks, like the canal. So providing this additional access point is very vital to our future there. And as these projects come online in construction, we'll provide you some more details on these, and I'm always happy to go over any projects individually you have questions with. So additionally, we have 4 projects that are all slated to start this fiscal year. So we're in fiscal year 24, and that ends in July. So these projects are either in the pre-design stage or they're getting close to getting posted out there to bring on a team. So you may see these projects coming on. One that we get questions about is Parking Garage 3. So this project will come forward at least for the design portion, and you'll notice that there is not a location indicated in the Heritage District because the location has not yet been determined, but you'll hear about that project at least in the design phase coming soon. We also have a project to improve the medians along Gilbert Road and beautify them and bring them up to code, along with a portion of Water Tower Way, which is our north-south pedestrian path, planned all the way in the Heritage District, starting at Juniper, coming down to Elliott. So in addition to our different physical construction projects we have going on, there's always a number of plans and pre-designs happening in the district. A few have been completed recently, so the Heritage District Master Circulation Plan was recently completed, and we have a copy of that online for you and the public. Additionally, our Parking Master Plan was completed last fall as well, which outlines the plan for parking in the future for the district, and that is also available online on our website. And we have a few other studies underway, so wayfinding and place marketing plan for the Heritage District, which you guys provided some feedback on earlier this year, along with a study to potentially relocate the Park and Ride out of the Heritage District to prepare for some future plans, and a additional study, Gilbert Road multi-use path, to see about some bike and ped connections from the Heritage District connecting down to other regional trail systems. So to provide you an update, last year you guys provided some feedback on the wayfinding signage. So we are close to completion of that signage system. So just wanted to show you what some of those final designs are looking like. So again, we haven't completely closed out this plan, but we are close to getting there. And we'll update the commission as we move forward with fabrication and construction so that you guys are up to date on when that's happening. The goal for implementation of the first phase of signage to be installed is by the end of the summer. So that is our target goal, and we'll keep you guys updated as we move forward with that. So you guys are a lot more familiar with these active planning projects, but just kind of wanted to provide an overview of what currently is submitted to Town of Gilbert for projects in the Heritage District. Lumberyard, you guys did provide feedback on. That was a rezoning that you provided some direction on earlier this year. That's outside of the district, but it's in the long-range planning area. So you guys just provided feedback at study session, and it will go to Planning Commission and Council for formal approval, but kept it on here since it's still in the process. Also wanted to note that South Anchor you have not seen yet, but it is an active application that is on hold. And HD South is coming in for a reapproval, and you will see that soon. The rest of the projects you're familiar with, but just kind of wanted to provide you a scope of what's currently submitted. And two, with businesses, we're very happy that we had 2 new businesses come into the district in the last few months. The first being the Rich Hanger, which is a consignment and thrift shop that's located in the district, and also B5 Design, which is an upholstery shop that's located in downtown as well. Additionally, Batch Cookie Shop is in review for their TIs currently, and Gelato Cimino is close to opening, along with Maeve Coffee. So the Batch Cookie Shop is located on Gilbert Road. It's not the Body Shop, I'm blanking. Functional Fitness, where Functional Fitness once was. The Maeve Coffee Shop is located where Gypsy Cup once was. So we're very excited for all of these businesses that have come into the district and the new coming soon ones. And we have a few smaller projects that are happening in the district right now. So we're doing a little bit of outreach for the Heritage District right now through a fun little Valentine's themed installation called Love Letters to the Heritage District. So this is set up at the Park and Ride, which is where the Gilbert's Farmers Market is located. And here we provided the opportunity for the public to fill out small wooden heart ornaments with what they love about Gilbert's Downtown Heritage District. So we have a fun activation there that's very visually on theme for the season, and then also after we're completed and we'll take down this installation in the beginning of March, staff will collect all of the responses to what people love about the Heritage District and catalog it so that we can do some preliminary research on what people love about the district, what people want to see in the district as we start to prepare for our 2028 redevelopment plan. Additionally, you may have noticed that there's some posters up in the district right now at the parking garages and also on the light poles. So this was all thanks to the Gilbert Elementary Kindness and Service Club. So this is the second year they've done this. So for Random Acts of Kindness Day, that was on February 17th, the Gilbert Elementary Kindness and Service Club came into the Heritage District and hung up different inspirationals and fun signs throughout there. And they provided us a bunch of photos, and I think they're too cute not to share. So we're very grateful to see the kids be a part of the community and that they want to do it a second year in a row. And just a reminder, the Gilbert Military Tribute Banner, so this was a program that was started last year, is accepting applications for this calendar year. So you must submit by March 31st, and the information is available on here and also online to submit. These will be up in the Heritage District for Memorial Day, Independence Day, and Veterans Day. And the program was great last year, and we just want to get the word out. So if people would like to submit again this year. And I know I just went over a lot of items, so I'm here for questions, but thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Sydney. Thank you for everybody and your participation tonight. It is now 7:04, and I will adjourn the Redevelopment Commission meeting.